So before I get into part 2 of the shotgun split offset scheme, that is basically based around what I think is the best play in the game, wide receiver corners, out of the shotgun split offset, just wanted to give you a little bit more information about myself. For those of you that do not know, I'm Mr. Smith 26 over on the MaddenLab.com, which is now known as the GamersLab.com. If you haven't checked that out, definitely go check it out. We got a forum over there with lots of tips, lots of discussion about all different aspects of Madden. I think it's the best forum community for tips anywhere for Madden. And that's why I came over. A lot of you maybe might know me. I had my own site, MaddenFreestyle.com, in Madden 12. Well, Gambino asked me to come over and join him on the MaddenLab.com, so I gave up MaddenFreestyle.com. I'm now over here. I'm going to be here all year in Madden 13, giving away schemes, individual tips, all sorts of stuff for free in Madden 13. So yeah, that's basically it. So make sure that you subscribe to the channel because we're going to be posting a lot of stuff in Madden 13, and I mean a lot. This channel is going to be going crazy. Also, if you haven't been to the MaddenLab.com or the GamersLab.com, go check that out right now. So a little bit about this scheme, nothing really, just the fact that I did come up with it in September of 2011 when the game came out. So, you know, I don't really know. Take it for what it's worth. You know, I'm sure there's going to be some stuff in here that maybe is a little... I think I even talk about strong close like it was like the greatest thing on earth, but I mean now everyone knows about it. But I just use that to give people an example of how to tell whether it was man or zone. But you can see that it is a little bit older, but this scheme is still very, very effective. And if you haven't seen the wide receiver corners play out of this formation, I posted the video a couple days ago. You definitely need to check it out. I really firmly believe it is the best play in the entire game. So anyways, I'll see you guys in Madden 13 even more. Might have just a couple more videos for Madden 12. And enjoy the scheme. So the next play we want to look at is slot seam. We've been running wide receiver corners all day long, hitting with the C routes deep into the sideline, and now we need to make them respect the line of scrimmage. The two routes we're focusing on are LB and Y out of the backfield. Now versus man-to-man defense, we really want to hit the Y receiver. I'm just going to show it to you once because that's all you're going to need to see. It's that effective versus man-to-man. As you can see, he shakes out his opponent and he gets a big gain. I'm not sure if you remember Madden 10, Madden 11. In the slot, there's a play that was very effective called wide receiver shake. It's in this game as well, but this is the same version. It's very effective, but out of the backfield. Look at what he does to his defender when he's in man-to-man. He jukes 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then cuts out to the sideline and gains big, big separation. So versus man-to-man, that's what we want to do. I'm just going to show you that once. Another thing we can do versus man-to-man, even though I definitely prefer hitting the Y receiver, is throwing a quick pass to LB. Now, as soon as he hits the line of scrimmage, we just want to take a quick look, but watch. As soon as he gets to the line of scrimmage, I throw a quick pass. Now, he dropped the ball there. That's going to happen. Watch. Line of scrimmage, boom, throw a quick pass. I prefer to throw to LB against zone. I'm going to show you that a little bit later on. But these are two routes versus any type of coverage that you're able to hit all day long. So the next thing that I want to show you is what we can do with LB versus man-to-man out of the backfield. Now, as you know, curl routes this year kill man-to-man defense. Everyone's running them. What we're doing here is we're essentially running a curl route out of the backfield. It makes it even that much more dangerous because a lot of people aren't focusing on curl routes out of the backfield when they're calling man-to-man defense. As soon as we turn around, all we want to do is just throw a bullet pass. It's that simple. No pass lead in any direction. And he's going to jump up in his own little rocket catch animation a lot of the time and be able to make the play. Now, he's not always going to jump up. Sometimes he's just going to keep going and beat the defender and get some yards just like that. As you can see, the defender had no idea where he was going. As soon as our receiver did his curl, he came back towards the quarterback, and the defender kept going, and we're able to pick up 15 yards on what looks like to be a very short route out of the backfield. The other thing we can do is if they bump and run, we're able to hit them on the outside. Sometimes he'll get inside position. Sometimes if you have a nice receiver with good release, he's going to get deep, wide open. So we want to look to the wide receiver on the outside because our LB route is going to take a little bit of time to develop. All we do as soon as he comes back, just throw a bullet pass. So we're going to look at the same play again, slot seam, and we're going to focus on LB out of the backfield. Now, believe it or not, I actually prefer to throw to LB out of the backfield against zone defense, even though I just showed you how effective it is against man-to-man. The reason why is because we've got the wide receiver as our man beater, and we're going to use LB as our zone beater. Now, the reason why is because in this game, as soon as you snap the ball and the defense is in zone, the defenders are automatically going to back up unless there's a player in their area. Now, on this play, they don't recognize the running back until he reaches the line of scrimmage, as you can see right there. By that time, we're already throwing the ball to him. As soon as he reaches the line of scrimmage, we're throwing a bullet pass. We're getting 5 yards before we're touched, and our momentum carries us, and we're able to pick up an extra 4 or 5. Now, make sure you're making the right reads, because if you throw to the Y route when they're in zone, you might throw a pick. This is a nice little play I like to add into the mix. It's called Cowboy Corners. It really has the same look as the play that we've been running all day long for the C routes, but the thing I like about it is the 2 blue routes out of the backfield. Now, I talked about how sometimes you want to block the players in the backfield, and sometimes you want to let them go. Well, the great thing about these 2 blue routes is if they're blitzing, they're going to stay in and block, and if they're not, they're going to release to the flats, and we're going to be able to make a nice, quick, easy pass. The great thing about this play is whether it's man or zone, the defense doesn't recognize the player until he's completely released, especially out of this play. As you can see, I showed you before, when player goes to the flats, they recognize him immediately and they go down and cover. On a blue route, they don't recognize him immediately, and that means we can pass underneath and pick up some nice yards and make him respect the line of scrimmage. Cowboy Y circle is a play I absolutely love to run as part of this scheme. Now, as you can see on the left, we still have the running back going into the flats and the C route, so we can throw to the C route if we'd like, but the routes I love to focus on in this play are Y out of the backfield, and in the slot, we got the drag route. Now, the great thing about these 2 routes is whether it's man or zone, both routes are great. If we see zone and we see he's open and they're trying to protect against the C routes, we got A wide open. Same against man-to-man. We can still throw the drag against man-to-man underneath. We can throw the angle route out of the backfield to our Y receiver underneath, whether it's man or zone. And even sometimes, depending on the situation, we still might be able to hit the C route. We just have a lot of options to look at. And again, as I've been talking about, make your opponent respect the line of scrimmage. Don't let them always back up like this. Look at, they're backing up all these defenders. We've got A on the drag. We've got Y wide open over the middle. It's just a great addition to the scheme. And again, as I said, we can still hit the C route if we'd like. So add this to your arsenal. Make sure it's one of the plays that you definitely call often, especially if you're having great success running the C routes. Bronco Y angle is essentially the same play that I just showed you. The only difference is the blue route out of the backfield, which heads to the flats. Now, the reason I like this play is because for whatever reason, out of this formation, the defense doesn't recognize that flat route until he's completely released way down on the sidelines, and we're able to pick up nice yards time and time again. Now, you don't have to have this as part of your scheme, but it is something that I like to throw in there just because of how effective the blue route is. The next part of the scheme is pretty obvious, and that's running the halfback draw. Now, what we want to do is we want to pay attention to whether they're playing max coverage or blitzing or just calling a regular defense. Now, if they're blitzing, of course, we're going to use our passing plays to pick them apart. We're going to pass out of the backfield. We're going to throw to our drags. We're going to do lots of different things with the plays that I've shown you to beat any kind of blitzing. Now, when they're not blitzing and they're just calling a standard defense or they're playing a maximum coverage defense, we want to keep the chains moving by running the halfback draw and keep them off balance. This is definitely an important part of the scheme. It's a simple part, but it's an important part. The only thing we're going to do is we're going to slide protect down, and that just helps us with the blocking. Mesh is a play that I absolutely love to run. When the game first came out, this was probably the play that I ran the most, and it just so happens that it fits really nicely with this scheme. So now I'm going to show you something that a lot of people are fascinated with, and that's rocket catching. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it, but this particular route, formation, whatever, makes it very simple to pull off the rocket catch. Anybody can do it. All we want to do is wait until our receiver gets outside the numbers, close to the sideline, and we want to throw a high bullet pass. Now the thing that people struggle with is how to get that jump animation. All we want to do is go clockwise on our left analog stick. So we throw the ball right when he gets about there. As you can see, look at where he is, and look at when my quarterback's ready to wind up. We throw a high bullet pass, then we push up on the left analog stick, and we swirl it clockwise all the way to the bottom, and we press Y. Now, as far as formation goes, this play clearly looks a little bit different than everything we've been running, but the play is so effective, we definitely want to be using it. Our first read is LB. What we want to do is we want to look at the defender on that side of the field and see if he's blitzing or not. If he is, we just want to press LB real quick and pick up some big yards. It's a very simple read that anybody can do. Now, I've been using this all year long with great success. Now, if that Green Bay defender is not blitzing, all we do is we look elsewhere because that player is not going to be open. It's not an ideal route unless they're blitzing. Now, if they like to blitz from the right side of the field, it's very simple. Just flip the play when you're running hurry-up offense and hit them on the right side of the field. Now, if you played Madden 11, I'm sure you're very aware that a lot of people were running mesh out of snugs flip and everything, and it was so hard to stop. Everybody was running it. It was so easy. This year, nobody's running it. The play is not effective at all, except out of this particular formation and this particular play. Let's take a look at what happens in man-to-man defense. We have a nice assignment switch there. The player that's supposed to be covering the wide receiver ends up covering the running back, and the player that's supposed to be covering the running back ends up covering the wide receiver, and as you can see, it completely leaves him in the dust. Now, I didn't throw to him on that particular play. I was looking at this player, and I hit him as well. So that's versus man-to-man defense. Now let's take a look again. This time we hit the player that had the assignment switch, we break one tackle, and we're gone for a touchdown. Now this is versus man-to-man. So as I said, actually just real quick, I'm going to show you we can flip the play if they're blitzing from the right-hand side of the field. Our first read is LB. Look at LB. Okay, they're not blitzing. So it's a very simple way to read a defense because all we have are effective drags across the middle, and it's just something that anybody can do. I really believe that anybody can run this play with great success because the reads are so simple. Now I'm showing it to you against man-to-man defense, but it works just as well against zone defenses. All you want to do is make sure that when you're throwing those drag routes, you just, if you see that he's going across the middle and you have that little bit of a hole, make sure you throw the ball right away. If the hole's not there, wait a little bit, he will come open. I really hope that you've been enjoying the guide so far, and if you are, you're going to love what I'm going to show you next. Take a look at these formations. They are identical except for personnel. So we can use this without tipping off the defense. Now make sure you add wide receiver screen out a split offset to your playbook. What we want to do is put B on a slant or a streak. Now I prefer to put them on a slant, so let's do that. Next, we're going to put LB on a drag. Ready for the result? Here we go. I know, you can't believe it. This is a concept that I've been using since Madden 11, and in Madden 12, it's even more effective because of the blocking. You know, it's not always about having really good user skill. You know, you don't need to be the greatest player in the world to win a lot of games. As long as you have a good scheme or plays that are overly effective, and this is certainly one of them. I wouldn't be surprised at all if in the very first time you ran this play in a ranked game, you scored a touchdown. Every time I run this play and I'm on a headset with my opponent, they scream out, "What the hell was that?" as I'm running free to the end zone. It always makes me laugh, and I have a feeling you're going to be doing a lot of laughing in the near future. Here's an example of me running this tactic in a similar way.
3-yard line. First down, 10 to go. Flips it out short. He's looking for a burst of speed. Can he get there? Touchdown, Chiefs.
Well, I hope you enjoyed watching me run free to the end zone as much as I did when I did that play. But now I'm just going to show you the plays we want to add to our custom playbook, Shotgun Split Flex. The only play we don't want to add is that one right there, Pat's PAFL screen. We're going to use the other screen pass out of the other formation. So as you're taking a look at the plays that you're going to be adding, I'm just going to do a little bit of talking about the scheme I just showed you. Of course, the main thing about the whole scheme, even though that wide receiver screen pass that I showed you is my favorite play, and I think it's the best play in the whole thing, you really want to get the C routes down. If you practice, and you get the timing of those C routes down, and you're making that spectacular catch animation every time like I am, you're going to be very, very tough to beat. Add that in, even just that alone. And then you add in all the other reads and all the other plays that I showed you in this scheme. I promise you, you are going to be very, very tough to beat. I wouldn't want to face you with this scheme, and I'm the one that made it. So anyway, good luck. I'm going to show you one more thing about reading man or zone defense. Now, I understand that some of you might have a hard time reading man or zone defense, so that's why I'm going to help you simplify it. We're going to come out in strong close. Now, first what I like to do is I like to put my tight end in at fullback, just so that we have more options of, good solid receivers, tall receivers to throw the ball to when we're in shotgun. So we come out in strong close, and this is how we read man or zone defense. Take a look at Charles Woodson and how he shuffled in from the right to the left over top of the receiver. When he shuffled in like that, we knew right away, it's completely dummy proof, we knew it was zone defense. Again, we're calling random defenses, and this time again, Rod Woodson shuffles in from right to left, and we know that it's zone. So what we want to do here, again, we see that it's zone because he's shuffling in. I showed you man beaters, I showed you zone beaters, and what we want to do when we figure out whether it's man or zone is then we want to audible to those plays that we know are going to beat whatever defense we're throwing at. Now, as you can see here, this was man defense. Did you notice that Woodson didn't shuffle in from right to left? Like I said, that immediately tells us that they're in man defense. So what we do then, we quickly audible to our man beater, snap the ball quick before they can make any adjustments, and pick up the yards. The reason I love to run strong close is because it's very similar to the formation. You see how our guys just spread out, our quarterback comes back, we've already got two players in the backfield, there's not much movement. It makes it very easy to quickly audible, quickly snap the ball as soon as we read whether it's man or zone. Here we see that it's zone defense. We quickly audible to our zone beater, snap the ball, pick up the yards.